Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. My name is Beautiful Beats. I'm a music producer, and today we're talking about mistakes.
I hope you're ready. Real talk.
We all make them, you make them, I make them. The best producers in the world make them. And I think I've come up with 3 common mistakes that I see so many producers make and that I used to make all the time.
I remember. Now I'm helping them.
I was actually on Instagram Live the other day and we were listening to music. You guys were sending me your stuff and I was listening to it. And if there was something wrong with them, they were usually under these 3 categories. And these are super easy fixes. These are things that you can change like immediately in your stuff tomorrow when you make a beat. So be sure to watch the full video. Hopefully this helps. That's enough talking from me. Let's go. All right, so let's get into these 3 common mistakes that I see a lot of producers make and that I used to make myself. I put up a beat here that I made the other day, and as you can see, it is 10 tracks. So 10 tracks for a full beat, and a lot of them really aren't tracks. Like if we're talking like main elements, there's really only 7. I feel like when you first start producing, especially with like hip hop beats and like things like that, there are some like songs, like if you make EDM, you need a lot more elements in there. But either way, I feel like when you first start out, you always are trying to like overdo it. You know, you're always trying to add as many possible sounds as you can, or as many melodies as you can. You know, and all of a sudden, like nothing really sounds good when you add too many things.
It's too much. Excuse me, it's too much.
So I want to play this beat real quick. This is what it sounds like. The point I'm trying to make is like this beat could also be good with just one guitar melody. Like that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and like a little vocal. So like that's only 5 tracks and that is even sounding pretty nice. And honestly, I might like that better than when with this added guitar and even more percussion. This guitar melody, it might clash a little bit. It might be too much for a listener to hear. I think it's fine, but like one melody is just enough, really. So this is like an extreme case, obviously, of like slimming something down, right? I took out like 2 sounds. Sometimes stripping things back can really help other elements stand out. You know, if you have like 4 melodies going on, you might not be able to hear your 808 and kick that well because it's just, everything is just so muddy and on top of each other. All right, so this kind of actually leads me into my second mistake that I see people making, which is you want certain elements to stand out more than others. So if you have like, you know, too many melodies or too many things on a melody, it might distract from things like the drums or like the vocal. And this is like a huge mistake that I see people make. A lot of people like to have their melody louder than their drums. So if I turn up these guitars, let's turn these guitars up and like maybe if we turn our kick and our 808 down, this is sometimes what I hear a lot of times. So what we have there is a super loud melody, but drums are, and I hate to say it, are probably more important than a melody in most cases. I feel like, especially with hip hop and like trap, drums are what get people moving. Those are what should stand out, especially like with how much people love like a good kick and a good like 808, like that's what should be loudest. A kick really, that's what drives the track. And then your melody should be in the back. That's what makes drums coming in hit so good, like, or a drop, people like to say, hit so good, is because like, you're listening to that melody in the background, you're like, oh, I like this, you turn it up a little bit, and then louder drums, and you're like, okay. You don't lose that guitar in the background. It's still there, but it's not overtaking the more important elements. And that kind of just all goes back to mixing your stuff and having certain elements and leveling and certain elements higher and certain elements not. Another thing, and I'll pull up another project for this, is with vocals. I see a lot of people like, they'll make a track and they'll put a vocal on it, and like the instrumental is way louder and you can barely hear the vocal. So I want to bring up like a song I'm working on. This is like way more tracks obviously for EDM and like dance music. And I kind of want to show you guys how this vocal sits on top, and if I was to turn it down, it just wouldn't hit the same. So let's listen.
Hold on to your words, but lately they're cold.
Here come the drums.
I'm losing focus, 'cause you're my motive. Do you notice that I'm addicted to your touch? Hearts wide open, high on emotions.
So what's deep in the background there is this piano and these guitars. That's because those drums are what are moving, and that vocal is what people are going to connect with the most, especially a vocal. The vocal should be the main thing in every track, because that's what people connect with. As humans, we're going to connect to somebody's voice more than we are to a guitar.
Do you notice that I'm addicted to your touch? Hearts wide open, high on emotions.
But you can still hear that kick and that clap are the two loudest things other than the vocal in the mix. Even when you come into like something like a drop, that kick, I mean, drops are a little different in EDM because like you want your like, you know, elements like that and your saws to stand out, but even that kick is sidechained to everything, so that kick still stands out because that's what like people feel. So we have two common mistakes so far. We have keeping things simple, not overdoing it, and then we have the second one, which is like keeping important elements where they should be up front and not letting things like overtake other things. The last one I have is don't overuse effects. I see this all the time and I still do it to this day.
To this day! To this day!
And I feel like we see it a lot with reverb, because reverb is like this magic thing where like it creates space. I used to put reverb on like everything because it sounded cool and like it feels bigger and wider, but really you can accomplish like stereo width by panning. If you overdo compression, reverb, everything's just gonna sound like processed. You know, I go through after I'm done with a beat or a song, and I go through every track and I'm like, okay, do I need this much reverb? Do I need this much delay? Is there too much compression on this? Do I have this side chain too much? I go through everything and make sure what I'm doing is necessary. If I can cut back any reverb in anything, I do it, because like, I just want it to sound clean. I don't want it to sound muddy and things like that. I know that was kind of a shorter video from what I normally did. It wasn't as interactive. It was a lot of me talking, but hopefully you guys can like listen to those tips and try to incorporate them. It's something I literally see every day. I try to listen to a lot of your guys' stuff, and it's every time it's like, ooh, you know, melody's too loud here. There's just too much going on here. There's way too many effects on this. So hopefully you guys take that advice. You can use it in your own stuff. And if you think I'm wrong, don't do it. You know, it's like music is all subjective. You might like a ton of effects and that's how you get your sound. Go for it. It's all subjective. That's just my advice. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something. As always, if you need help, send me a DM on Instagram at beautifulbeats99. I'll gladly help you for free. And I'll be sure to respond. So hope you guys have an awesome day. Peace.